Hello there.
Hi there. We are back
We have a lot of movies now.
for another week.
hmm
Are we death racing yet?
I would say right now we're Independent Spirit Death Racing, and we're almost done with that, and then we'll be Oscars Death Racing.
We're almost there.
Almost there. I'm so excited. It's my favorite time of the year.
It's your holiday season.
It is.
So what did we start with?
Well, we watched quite a few movies.
How many movies did we watch?
We have 6 movies
Okay.
because we got a little delayed in recording because of our snowstorm antics.
Power outage galore.
So the first movie we have is A Little Prayer. I think I know how you feel about this one.
I'm struggling even to remember what this movie was about.
Okay, remember it was the guy and his son was garbage and was cheating on his wife with the gal from Orange is the New Black.
Oh yeah. Was this movie based off a book or something like that? This was such a strange, it felt like a Hallmarky sort of I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, it's the father and the son run a business together, and it's like a veteran owned business, but everyone is PTSDing so hard. I don't know why anyone thought this was a good idea.
I don't believe it was based on anything. It is nominated for Best Screenplay at the Independent Spirit Awards.
I'm making a face, you can't tell.
I understand what you mean by Hallmarky. I think the only thing that elevates this from a Hallmark movie is the acting.
Yeah, that's true. The acting was fine. It's just story-wise, I was not sure what we were doing or where we were going with this, other than military PTSD coupled with alcoholism and cheating on your spouse isn't a great combo.
I guess the biggest thing I got was that the parents, the dad especially, because he was kind of the main focus of the film,
And the wife, sort of.
didn't really discipline his kids or instill maybe values within them because, we see the son, he's cheating with his subordinate as well. We hear that he was abusive to her.
Yeah, we didn't see any of that in the movie, which was
No.
I thought was kind of strange. That we saw him being an alcoholic a lot and kind of just of a party goer, I guess. But
I assume that allegation was true.
yeah, I
And
would
he
not doubt it.
does bully his wife into getting an abortion.
He's not a nice guy.
No. And then the sister, played by Anna Camp, comes in.
She was great.
She was great.
Best character.
I love her
She's a
in
train wreck.
everything. She's wonderful. But she comes in and she has this kid who it's obvious she isn't really disciplining that well either.
The cycle continues.
Uh-huh. She's with this guy who sounds like is a hardcore drug addict.
Yeah,
And
not a great situation.
she was in the house, looking through, it looked like she was looking through, jewelry boxes and purses and stuff. Like, she's gonna take what she can here.
Shows up unannounced as well.
At the end, when she leaves, the dad still gives her more money, even though she's going right back to the abusive husband.
Yeah, it seems like they split up and get back together a lot.
Yeah, and every time she's going back needing money, and they just keep enabling that behavior. Behavior like that's not gonna stop if they keep enabling it.
Exactly.
It seems like the dad, too, back in the day, was maybe an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, well, now the son's coming home late, and it's kind of mirroring probably the behavior that he saw growing up.
Exactly.
And it seems like the dad's dealing with a lot of guilt from that, especially because he really does like his daughter-in-law.
Oh yeah, they have the best relationship in the movie, I think. He doesn't care about his granddaughter at all. It doesn't really seem like. Yeah, he kind of well, my kids suck, so my daughter-in-law is the only competent one here.
And she even said that she knew she needed to leave a long time ago, but what was keeping her from doing that was that fatherly relationship that she had with her father-in-law, because we hear that, she doesn't really have much of a family herself.
Right.
And it does culminate in that really lovely scene at the end of the movie I thought the acting was really great. And she's saying that they're kindred spirits. I
Hmm.
thought that was a nice little scene.
Why was this movie called A Little Prayer?
They were religious.
I guess there's the one scene where the mom, I guess the kind of the matriarch of the family, is in bed and she just goes, she finishes her little prayer. We don't see anything of what she says or is hoping for or anything like that. That's the extent of it. I'm not sure why they called this movie A Little Prayer at all, actually.
I don't know. Maybe she's praying for things to get better and for the cycle to stop, and it just won't. But the daughter in law stops her own cycle
That's true.
by leaving. But it seems like those parents are just going to keep enabling their son and daughter.
Yeah, can't blame you, girl. Get out of there.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't really like this movie.
you did not know.
It story was not gripping enough to really keep me engaged, but it wasn't like funny or that emotional or anything like that. It was just like, wow, this is a poor situation for everyone involved. Wish this wasn't happening. Moral of the story, seek help for alcoholism and don't spoil your kids, maybe? I wasn't quite sure.
I think this was just very slice of life, realistic. Like, I feel like a lot of people go through things like this.
Oh, yeah, it was completely realistic, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. That doesn't make for a very good movie, though.
I mean, that's true. If someone followed me around with a camera all day, they probably wouldn't be too enthralled.
This movie should have been like a slideshow or something like that.
A PSA.
A PSA, yeah. I don't know, like, who was the target audience for this, do you think? Give me, like, just an age range.
50 plus?
Okay, fair. I don't know. I left that movie thinking, like, what was that for other than a big thumbs down? I was not a fan.
Yeah, sometimes things like this are a little hard for me because it's like, oh, well, if I were being treated this way, I would just leave. But that's me now. There are times when I probably wouldn't have, and different people figure those things out at different times in their life.
Now, this was probably a lower budget movie,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of the reason, but this really was a telling, not showing sort of movie, which isn't very fun for me.
Yeah, because we don't even really see the son and the daughter in law interacting all that much. We get a couple of interactions, but
Yeah.
we certainly don't see the scene where he's bullying her into an abortion.
Yeah, the like secretary or whoever he was sleeping around with at work saying he was getting violent and beating her up a lot.
We never really saw him get violent with anyone.
Not at all,
but
not at all. No indication of that
the
whatsoever.
fact that he's a cheating alcoholic, you add violence onto that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
believe you.
a small step to that, I'm sure. That aside, I mean, acting was good. I guess visuals and everything, the shots were good and everything, but I don't know. I'd give this movie like a 50%. It just wasn't for me.
I would probably be a little more generous with this movie. I think it did what it set out to do well. So I'd maybe give it more of a 70.
I'm doubling down. You know what? Give it a 0. Just don't bother. Not worth the hype.
I don't think there's no redeemable qualities about this movie.
There was no little prayers. There was no real alcoholism. I mean, if we're gonna go on about how the son is a degenerate, show him going on a bender. Let's go. But no.
We need to see him go on a Kit Harington and Industry style bender.
Absolutely. At least make it entertaining. Make it worth my while.
Well, the Rotten Tomato score for this movie is, do you want to guess?
I'm gonna say generally a broad audience is always gonna be wrong and like this movie, so I'm gonna say they gave it an 83.
They gave it a 93%.
A night go to hell, no.
I will say I think 93 is a bit generous, so not worth the 93% hype.
I've gotten migraines that were more entertaining than this movie.
I think if you read the synopsis and it sounds appealing to you, just know it's like a slower movie. It's
Yeah.
not too long, but it felt kind of long.
It's about the ups and downs of family, and there is an audience for that.
I think
it's
a
just
lot
not
of
me.
people will relate to it and enjoy it.
I'm a cynic though, so
Yeah.
take that as you will. But yeah, 93. The critics are wrong.
That's fair.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens in the sequel. A Little Prayer 2, this time with more violence. But no, not worth the hype. Skip this one.
The next movie that we watched is Dust Bunny.
Dust Bunny. We'll start with say I liked it more than A Little Prayer.
It was really visually interesting. The word that kept coming to mind for me was whimsical.
It's like if Willy Wonka meets, I don't know, John Wick.
That's good.
Again, I don't know who this movie was really for. Was this based off of anything? Was this a pre-existing IP or something?
I do know that this is the feature directorial debut of the guy who created the Hannibal TV show, and so we have Mads Mikkelsen as our lead.
He was pretty good in this movie, I think.
He was, yeah. I think he just has that demeanor that really worked for Assassin. And you mentioned John Wick. He was very John Wick-esque here.
Yeah.
I don't believe this was based on anything, no.
Interesting. We've got Sigourney Weaver running around.
I loved when she showed up. I was so happy.
I mean, I'll give them that. They had some big names in this movie. You've got the little girl who's sort of like, would you say she's the main character, or is Mads more of the our main kind of point of view?
I think the little girl's our protagonist because we start with her and we only get to Mads Mikkelsen because of the little girl's journey.
Gotcha. And he's just like, they don't really go into details, but Mads is just sort of a assassin, not quite crime fighter sort of dude, but he's a John Wick sort of character.
Yes. We learn that maybe there's people after him.
Yeah.
And, the little girl, who I think she did a really good job in
That's
this. True. Her families keep dying.
They keep getting eaten by the Dust Bunny floor monster. Really taking the floor as lava to heart.
I think they kind of tried to explain why the Dust Bunny monster followed her from foster family to foster family, but I didn't really fully get the logic. It was almost like, it's your monster, you created it, because I guess she kept praying for her families to go away because she didn't like them.
Yeah, it's just, I guess she's magic somehow. Yeah. Her dreams or, I don't know, imaginary friends come to life, something like that. We see a fight scene early on where John Madswick is fighting someone in, like, it looks to be like a Chinese New Year sort of festival, something like that. So he's fighting these guys who are disguised underneath this, like, kind of dragon-looking, I don't know, parade float-looking creature thing. But the little girl sees it as real, like a real dragon. So at first it's like, okay, are there actual, like, monsters and demons in this universe? Is she visualizing it because her young mind can't really comprehend what she is seeing? It's a bit of both, I guess.
I think in that particular fight, we're to assume that no, there were no monsters involved.
Okay.
But because this little girl believes in monsters, that's kind of how she views it.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was really cool with the way they played with the shadows.
Yeah, like the shadow of them fighting turns into like the dragon on the wall that she sees.
This movie knew how to light an action scene, unlike other movies that we might talk about
Absolutely.
later. But I thought it was pretty fun. I do think the fact that we didn't delve deep enough into the lore, though, kind of soured me a little bit.
Yeah, this was all very surface level, which...
Yeah, it's like, don't think about it too hard,
If you're going to do that, I think they needed to lean into it being a little bit more of a comedic film, which we didn't quite get. It was taking itself kind of seriously, but it's all absurd and ridiculous. Yeah. So it's like, okay, what am I supposed to be feeling from these relationships and scenes and everything? I guess Mads Mikkelsen's kind of taking on a fatherly role for the young girl after her foster parents keep getting eaten. And for a long while, we're seeing the little girl thinks the monster's after her, but it's really, I guess, trying to protect her, if I understand that right.
Yes, because she keeps asking it, or not necessarily asking it, but she keeps wishing that her new foster families will go away.
Right. I think maybe they said this is her third foster family, something like that's gotten eaten, something along those lines.
I think maybe part of the problem is we don't really see any reason why the current foster family she's with at the beginning of the movie is that bad.
Yeah, they
They
seem
might
fine.
be a little annoying, but not like get eaten by a monster annoying, you know?
And it's left up to interpretation because we're led to believe for a little while, oh no, some assassins actually killed her foster family, and she, in her young mind, kind of like warped what she saw into like, no, it was a monster went after them. But no, actually, it's a literal monster that's hiding in the floor
Yeah.
and pops up through the wood planks to eat people.
Well, and for a second, Mads Mikkelsen was like, oh, they were after me, actually, but maybe got the wrong people because they're neighbors.
Right,
But then
right.
people did actually come after him,
Yes.
but then they got
He doesn't have too much of a
eaten by
backstory.
the dust bunny.
I like it first. In the beginning of the film, we see little pieces of dust start rolling into a like a little ball, and you see an actual little dust bunny. Like it's a little ball of dust in the shape of a bunny. I was thinking, okay, it's going to be more like a haunting slash kind of like ghost sort of presence.
Yeah.
But then we don't ever see the actual literal little dust bunny again. Now we have giant floor monster with big old teeth chomping away at everyone.
Yeah, I think while the style of the movie was good, I liked the visuals a lot, the tone could have been more cohesive.
Yeah. Now I think about it, maybe it's like Willy Wonka with John Wick with a little dash of like Sin City.
Yeah.
It's like over the top, but it was trying to have its like darker moments, and I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah, because then we had kind of our over the top, like, gore effects or blood effects, not really so
Some,
much
yeah.
gore, which added to the stylization of everything. I did think the action sequences were well done.
I agree.
I liked, like you said, when they were essentially playing The Floor is Lava. That was fun. I liked their little kind of ottoman that they were rowing themselves
To not
across
touch the floor.
Yeah, across the floor with.
You know what? This sort of reminded me for some reason of like a Wes Anderson film.
I can see that, like a darker Wes Anderson.
It had like that kind of, I don't know, dryness in the dialogue.
Yes.
A lot of things were like matter of fact, but when you're dealing with like magical monsters and stuff, you had that weird, strange combination. I didn't hate this movie. Was it
No.
my movie of the year? No, but
It was fine.
I think almost I need to rewatch this.
Yeah.
Acting was great. I liked Sigourney Weaver, the parts that she was in. I don't know why they randomly shoehorned in that she was Mad's mother at the end.
I think because one of the more emotional themes of this movie was about parenthood.
I guess
Because
so.
the little girl kept asking him if he would be her dad.
Yeah.
And he seemed very reluctant to do that. And it's like, oh, maybe because he had this kind of cold parental figure.
True, true. Yeah, not a bad movie. I'd give it like a 70. Almost, like I said, I think I need to rewatch this to kind of appreciate it more. Worth the hype?
I think I would
suppose.
give this like a 70, 75.
Okay. How did the critics like this one?
This one got an 85% on
Yeah, that's
Rotten
fair.
Tomatoes. A little higher than what I gave it, but I'm not mad at it.
I mean, I give it a thumbs up. It's not a bad movie, don't get me wrong. It's kind of like a monster action-y sort of flick. That might be up a lot of people's alley.
I'd say to check it out, just for the visuals. It was
Yeah.
very whimsical.
Got some a good bright color palette.
Yes. Which is very lacking in a lot of movies these days.
That's true, especially action movies. Sometimes they're just too dark.
Yeah.
Or too, I don't know, gray or bland.
Like another action movie we watched
Indeed.
later in the week.
Indeed. But yeah, worth the hype, I guess so. Give it a shot. This might not be a movie for everyone, but if you like some little, is it Mads Mikkelsen? Am I saying that right?
I believe so.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you get to see a big old floor monster eating bad guys.
It's certainly an inventive concept.
It is. It's very creative. I'll give them that.
All right, the next movie we have Twinless.
Oh, Twinless.
I loved Twinless.
It's not bad. I like Twinless as well. Interesting concept.
The humor was right up my alley. I, for better or for worse, really resonated with the main character.
I don't know if that's a good thing or worse. No, that's fine. Main character's crazy, but it's
He
okay to
is.
be a little crazy.
I am crazy.
No, we'll just say misguided. Our main character was in love with this twin, but when the twin dies, it was an accident. Don't get me wrong, but our main character goes after the surviving twin, infiltrates the like surviving twin support
Support group.
group. Yeah, motives not too great, but meaning well.
Well, he decided he was in love with this twin.
Rocky.
Rocky, yes. So our main character, Dennis, falls in love with the twin, Rocky. And he falls in love after like one day. It wasn't even a date. They like met and they hooked up, and he went on to Rocky about how he's obsessed with twins.
Yeah, and that's just his thing. No problem with that.
And then he literally said, I love you, or I'm falling in love with you. Of course, Rocky ghosts him.
Yeah, kind of scared him away.
And so, he's sending text after text after text.
Yes.
Like, talk to me.
He got too
And-
obsessive too quickly.
Yes.
And that's sort of his thing throughout this movie, I think.
Relatable.
And he's a compulsive liar.
Yes. And, that he sees Rocky out with, I'm assuming his boyfriend, who is Jacob from Abbott Elementary.
Love him.
I don't know why people put Rocky's death on Dennis.
Oh, no, it was
for
Rocky's
screaming
fault.
at him in the middle of the street, because Rocky didn't have to walk right into the middle of an intersection to talk to him. Just cross the street fully and then have your conversation. Or, you know what? You can just walk away from this man.
You're an adult. Look both ways when you cross the street. That was not Dennis's fault.
No, not Dennis's fault at all.
But he's sad, and he's a sad, obsessive person. So he's like, well, there's another twin surviving out there. I'm going to just go find him now. It's the same thing.
I think he did that a little bit out of guilt.
Definitely. There's a lot of mixed emotions going on here. I
Yeah.
loved when he infiltrated the Rocky's funeral.
With the wig.
He's got the wig on, and he hugs Roman, the surviving twin. I love that.
Mm-hmm. What I think is really interesting about Dennis, too, is he talks about how lonely he is.
Yes.
And I think what I can relate to is he's feeling so lonely that whenever he gets like a scrap of affection, it's like, oh, I need to hold on to this
Yeah, he
as
latches
tight
right
as
on.
I can. But what I find really interesting about him specifically is he has this job and he has a coworker who is always making an effort to socialize with him, and he blows her off every time. And it's like, dude, if you're so lonely, give this gal a chance. And we learn that she's actually a really extroverted person with a lot of friends and everything.
And who's very nice. She's not at fault for
No.
anything, but she's a girl. He's like, well, I'm not interested in that.
I think he just thought she was too, like, bubbly or eccentric.
He's like, I'm not friends with coworkers. Get away.
And he seemed really surprised to learn that she had friends. And I think almost he was put off by her trying to befriend him, which is funny because then he kind of goes right around and does the same thing.
Dennis wants
To
everything
Rocky.
on his terms.
Yes, exactly.
He's definitely a complex character. I'll give him that.
Yes. And then the actor also wrote and directed
Oh, that's
this
right.
movie, James Sweeney, which
talent.
that's really cool.
Yeah. A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good story. They show his relationship with Roman, the surviving twin, developing. I just realized when Dennis infiltrates the twin survivor support group, you have Roman and Rocky were the twins. So Dennis comes up with, oh, my twin and I, Dennis and Dean. He just kind of copies that essentially. I
Yeah.
just realized that.
And then he's like photoshopping in the pictures.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Roman is really interesting because they do have a lot in common
Yeah.
and they do become really great friends. They play The Sims together.
Roman's looking for someone to kind of fill that brotherly role once he's lost his twin.
Yeah, he's someone who's very codependent.
Seems like it, yeah.
And once his brother left him to go to the big city and they kind of lost touch, he's been struggling ever since then because, yeah, he is really codependent. He always needs that other person. Because we see that when he starts dating Dennis's coworker,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're together all the time and he's doing everything with her, and then Dennis doesn't know how to feel about that because before, well, I was the special one that you did everything with and now it's someone else. Like, what is
Exactly.
that?
Dennis is maybe not the most emotionally mature person in the world,
No.
but that's okay. It makes for more entertainment. But yeah, whenever he's caught doing something fishy, he always just, instead of just being upfront with things, he tries to lie his way out of situations almost at every turn.
Well, and he even says at one point when they're playing Two Truths and a Lie, the way to build a good lie is to have true emotions and fake the details,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Devil's in the details.
I loved that one scene where Scott Hunter from Heated Rivalry
Oh, yeah.
was, well, trying to flirt with him, and then he was like, not for me.
No, he picked up on that immediately. He's like, you are a walking red flag.
Well, because Dennis wasn't even paying attention to this man.
Mm-hmm.
He was more concerned with looking over to see where Roman was and why he was chatting up his coworker.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, dude, focus on the guy in front of you.
Like we said, he finds his project and he latches onto it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I liked this movie. It was entertaining, had its funny moments, it had its kind of like heartfelt moments. I'm sure if you looked hard enough, there's probably some case in real life that kind of mirrors this a little bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
The links people will go to for a human connection, you know.
Man, that foot scene.
Oh yeah, he's like, Roman, you want a foot massage? Yeah, sure. And of course, we get a little bit of toe suckage.
It was the fact that it was so slow.
Yeah.
Like, you're watching it thinking, no, he's not gonna do that.
Oh, absolutely
He's
he
not
is.
gonna do that.
I liked how at first Roman's like laying there, he's got his eyes closed, and he's like, okay, this is just a benign, like my friend's rubbing my feet because I'm in pain and hurting. He's helping me out, but then it takes him a second. He's like, what is that? Oh, you're sucking on my toes. Okay.
Yeah, and then he like jumps up, he's like, get off. But I think he actually handled it better than a lot of people would because he was like, oh no, don't worry about it. It's fine. Just, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Don't
just
do it
don't do
again.
that again. Yeah.
Which was,
I had to start kicking.
yeah, a very nice way to have handled that situation. But, you know, he has a lot of trauma and guilt as well because the reason he's not very close with his brother is because when his brother came out to him, he had a very homophobic reaction.
Yes, and he's like come to regret that and has grown since then.
Yeah. But then you think, you know, it's also no wonder that Rocky didn't really hang out with him
Sure.
or talk with him as much anymore after that. It's very layered.
Definitely. We've got the mom from Gilmore Girls running around, and I think her and Roman have a very like strained relationship, and I think the death of her other son
Who was the favorite?
who's the favorite, yeah, has definitely kind of driven a wedge between them. We don't see her too much, but I think that kind of added some layer for like Roman and how like his mental state is and all that.
Well, because he doesn't even live in, I think we established they were in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even live there, but when he goes for the funeral, he's like, you know what? I think I just need to stay here for a little while.
Yeah, live in my dead brother's place to kind of still feel close to him, maybe?
Yes, and I also think just not to face his seemingly lonely life back wherever he lives.
True, yeah. But yeah, eventually Dennis is found out. I thought it was really funny when he tries to go back without Roman to the twin support group. And he's like, no, Roman told us all what you were doing. You need to get out of here.
And he was like, well, I'm an only child, but I could have absorbed my twin in the womb.
Like, I kind of feel like I am a twin, so can I still hang out with you guys? No. That was funny. Yeah, this movie had its comedic moments, like I said, and it was a good portrayal on relationships and kind of family and just all the dynamics with that. I like this movie. Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I loved it. 5 stars.
5 stars?
5
Okay.
stars.
I'd say, like, I'd give this, like, you know what? I'll be generous. I'm going to give this a 90. It's worth the hype.
A 90. And its Rotten Tomatoes score, 97%,
Ooh,
which
up
I
there.
agree with. Worth the
Yeah.
hype.
Yeah, I liked it.
The next movie was Splitsville.
What did you think of Splitsville?
I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot more slapsticky than I thought it would be.
I thought they did that
liked
well.
That. Yeah.
The early fight scene that just went on for like a solid, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes back and forth where these guys are just fighting each other, destroying their house.
It was
really
great.
funny.
Yeah.
I do think this movie went on like a little bit too long. It's just about these two couples in their kind of interwoven relationships. There's a lot of like, would you say like there's a lot of cheating in this movie, or is it kind of like these people have bad relationships and they're going about things in the wrong way?
Yeah, because there's a lot of polyamory going on, so
Yeah.
it's kind of exploring that.
Lack of communication is a big role in this movie, I think.
Yeah, I think we see that in each couple at different points. Like, they never both want to be polyamorous at the same time.
Yeah, if they had just like spoken about their feelings, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, this wasn't the most like ethical portrayal of those dynamics,
True.
but I don't think that's a bad thing.
This was a lot of like, what if morally compromised people just kind of do their thing and see it out all the way through, and sometimes the consequences for that, not always what they wanted.
Exactly. And we open with who I believe is our essentially main character,
Carrie.
Carrie. And Carrie is married to Ashley. They've been married a little over a year.
She's the gal from Hitman.
Yes.
The movie.
They essentially witness someone die in a car accident.
Oh, yeah.
And that prompts her to say, no, I want to live my life and I'm leaving you and I've been cheating on you. And
At first, it was like, oh, they've been married for a long time. No, they've just been married for a little more than a year, something like that. Which maybe, it seems like they maybe kind of rushed into, possibly.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember if they established how long they'd been dating beforehand. But then Harry runs to his best friend's house.
At first, like, he gets out of the car after she's saying, like, I want a divorce. I want to, like, go be with other people. I thought he just ran to a random person's house.
I did too.
But no, he gets there and there's Dakota Johnson just giving us nothing, as always. You go, girl.
I think this is the kind of role
She was
where
fine.
she
kid.
can do well in this kind of role. I think the best I've seen her was when she was in that movie, Am I Okay?
Is that the Taxi movie?
No, that was the movie where she was figuring out she's a lesbian.
I don't think I've seen that one, have I?
Yeah, we watched it. It was directed by Tig Notaro.
Oh, we watched that
and her
last
wife.
year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was really good in this. Like, all the acting in this was really good. Benson Boone shows up. He was fine. Not really, but close enough.
Essentially. I did think my favorite part of this movie was when Carrie goes back to his home with Ashley and says, we can have an open relationship after he's had sex with his friend's wife, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, Dakota Johnson and his best friend, whose name is
Paul. And he's actually the director of this movie.
Oh, okay. They're like, we have an open relationship, so we're cool with that. It helps our marriage. So Carrie and Dakota Johnson hook up, but actually that causes a fracture in her marriage.
And that causes this big, long fight where they try to save the fish.
Oh, that whole fight was really funny.
This was a really good fight scene, but
it was slapsticky, but not. I don't know. Sometimes slapstick comes off as too childish to me to be entertaining, and this was not falling into that trope, I think.
But what's really interesting is Paul is so mad at Carrie for having sex with his wife.
Doing exactly what he said it was okay to do.
Yeah, even though the night before when they were talking about being open.
To his, like emotionally vulnerable friend who just gotten broken up with. What'd you think was going to happen?
Yeah, like Paul and his wife were literally kind of joking, going back and forth about the open relationship thing. And his wife was like, so if I had sex with him, you wouldn't care. And he literally says no.
No, they're all sitting right there. He's like, no, go for it.
So the fact that it happened and he flipped out because I originally assumed that the movie would be like, well, they're polyamorous, but that's his best friend, so that's kind of crossing a line. But he got explicit permission,
Right.
so it's totally different.
And this movie's kind of about communication to some degrees.
Yeah. But anyway, my favorite part, after all of that happens, he goes back to his home with Ashley, says, let's not get a divorce,
We
let's
don't
just
have
be
kids.
open.
We don't have money. Why would we bother? Hey, just keep the tax benefits. Let's just stay married.
And then she, keeps having this. She'll have like a relationship for a couple weeks at a time, and Carrie befriends every single one.
Carrie's a really nice guy, or he's not vindictive or anything like that. He doesn't hold grudges. So whenever one of his current wife's lovers is with her or staying at their apartment, he's like, no, it's fine. I'll befriend you.
Well, he does say toward the end of the movie that he was jealous the whole time and he didn't really want to be friends with any of them. He was just doing that to bother her.
I mean, it worked, but hey, fooled me.
And then he was like, no, I mean, they're all cool people, but I wouldn't really...
I forget the character's name, but it was the guy with the mustache and the mullet. Jackson, Benson Boone. Yeah. He seemed to be like, I don't know, like a out of college kind of kid, something like that, trying to find his way. But he was really funny.
Yeah, after him and Ashley broke up, he's back at the apartment, and I think Carrie even said he could stay there for a little while.
His commentary was funny because it's like Ashley keeps stacking up these different relationships and lovers, but they don't leave the apartment. So you end up having 4 or 5 guys just kind of all hanging out.
And one woman.
And one woman, yes. And Benson Boone's like, no, this happens all the time. Just watch it. It's amazing.
She's like, what are you doing here? Well, Carrie said he'd help me with my resume.
Yeah, Carrie's a nice guy.
And then he's even, helping one through his emotions of being broken up with after 2 weeks. That leads that ex to then kiss Carrie. And he's like, nah, man, no.
He's like, thanks, but no, I'm not into that. And then you get the kid in this movie, Dakota Johnson and what is the name, Paul?
Yeah.
Their kid was pretty funny. He's trying to deal with his parents kind of going through, they got divorced, I think, after a while.
Yes.
Turns out no one wanted to be polyamorous. Everyone was just not good at communicating and wanted to make each other jealous.
Well, Paul said that he brought up the polyamory because he felt inadequate to his wife.
That is the wrong way to go about it, bud.
He felt like less attractive and not as good as her.
Yeah.
Because he said he never was seeing anyone else in the marriage either, whereas Dakota Johnson thought he always was, and the only other person she ever had sex with was Carrie.
Yeah, she was like, oh, whenever he goes out to the city, that just is code for he's seeing someone else. No, he was just committing financial crimes.
Yeah, which he does go to jail for.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, you get all the just kind of back and forth. Dakota Johnson and Carrie end up together. I don't even remember her name. She's just Dakota Johnson, always.
Julie?
Dakota.
That's fine.
They get together. They seem to actually work and like each other for the longest while. I was actually rooting for them. But yes, these couples they keep cheating on each other with one another, try to make each other jealous. You sort of got this kind of polyamorous kind of group going on, but no one actually wants it. It's just you start getting into this kind of cycle that turns ugly after a little while, but they keep it, I don't know, lighthearted isn't the right word. It stays funny throughout, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this is never a super...
It's not a depressing movie.
No, it's not depressing at all. And, even like the kids getting in trouble at school and,
Oh yeah, Carrie's his coach.
Yeah, it's a sad thing for a kid to be having trouble in school because his parents are getting a divorce, but the way they go about it in the movie, it doesn't feel all that, dark or anything.
Oh yeah, towards the end, the kid is explaining to his friend, he's like, yeah, Carrie was sort of like my uncle and then my stepdad for a little while, but now he's kind of just back to my uncle. I don't know.
Which his friend, I believe, had the same name, so I'm assuming was the same kid as the one who he broke his arm in a pantsing incident.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what got him expelled from school. So it seems like they're friends now at the end of the movie.
They all made up. Yeah, there's just kind of a lot of back and forth banter that's really funny. No, I enjoyed this movie. It kept me. I do think this movie was too long. There's like 5 or 6 different parts to this movie, which I think kind of we could have gotten there without some of the fluff, but that's okay. I wasn't bored in this movie.
Yeah, I liked the camera work. There were a
Yeah.
couple oneers that I thought were really fun.
Absolutely. When we were at the apartment and it's Ashley having her, I don't want to say like revolving door of men, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Well, the camera work was essentially going in like a circle, like a revolving door. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was trying to invoke.
It was all one shot. That must have been a pain to do with all the wardrobe changes and everything, but acting was really funny. I liked this story.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
I'd watch this again.
Yeah, I would too.
It was worth the hype.
It was fun. I would give this like 85.
Yeah, hit me. Well, what score this one getting?
84.
84.
Worth the hype.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was funny. Like I said, I don't think I can really think of anything like bad about this movie.
Exactly. It was very well made. Well done.
Of this batch that we watched over this past week, this is probably my favorite, I think.
Yeah, mine was Twinless.
Twinless close second.
Yeah. I actually thought this and Twinless weren't all that dissimilar.
Sure,
Even
sure.
coming down to the director, writers also being like actors in the movies and
And like in a good way, the situations and characters are like ridiculous, but that's real life a lot of times.
yeah, because it's like we're looking at serious subjects,
Mhm.
but we're not being so dour about it. It's actually funny and fun to watch.
Like in Dust Bunny, it's like, okay, people don't actually behave or act this way, but no, in Splitsville, it's like, okay, this I could actually see this happening. You
Yeah.
know, the situation isn't like beyond imagination.
No, not at all. All right. Next, we have, I know you're excited to talk about this one,
Uh-oh.
The Rip. You remember when I was mentioning action movies with poor lighting?
Yes, this is the poster child for. I don't think they had any lights in this movie at all, actually.
There were so many moments when I could tell the actors were trying to emote and convey something to the audience, and you couldn't even see their face, the expressions they were making.
No.
If I were the actor, I would be bad.
This movie, called The Rip, says the words The Rip about 19 times throughout this story.
Yeah, it's like,
it
I
beats
get
you over
it.
the head with it.
I get what a rip is, which Matt Damon did say that was a Netflix mandate to keep saying the plot over and over because they're expecting you to be looking at your phone while you're watching the movie. I don't look at my phone while I watch movies. The last movie where I just couldn't handle it and had to pull my phone out was Jay Kelly.
Yeah. I think Matt Damon maybe has been smelling his own rips a little bit too much and thinking, I don't know, he's just so superior to the average movie watcher for that kind of like commentary. But it's a cop kind of drug bust sort of movie where it's like they are playing with the ideas of like, okay, there's police corruption and trying to figure out who's the good cop, who's a bad cop. Are they willing to step across that line and take drug money for themselves or kind of do things kind of by the book? That was sort of interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I really had hope that I would enjoy this movie more than I did because, I mean, it had some really great actors there. Tiana Taylor, Stephen Yeun. Like,
Yeah.
actors I really enjoy watching. I really like the gal who owned the home, too.
She was good.
She was in a movie we watched last year. I believe it was called In the Summer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the one where she and her sister would go every summer to stay with their dad.
That's right. That's right. Oh, good callback.
And
My favorite character
she was real great
was
in that, and I thought she was real good in this too.
my favorite character. I think was the drug dog Winston.
Winston was a very cute.
I think that was
great
his
dog.
name. He was great.
And you know what? Spoilers: the dog lives.
He lives, not a scratch on him.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they are For some reason, this movie reminded me. Did you ever see? It was a remake, but did you ever see Assault on Precinct 13 with Ethan Hawke, like
No.
early 2000s? It started to kind of remind me about that. There's like corrupt cops going after these main protagonist cops who are trying to do the right thing, but then you've got some who are secretly trying to steal the money, things like that. But this story, I think, was overly complicated. There wasn't enough action for me to actually be. There's like one gunfight, I think,
Which I
one or
thought
two.
was well choreographed
It
and
was
everything, but the
okay.
lighting was bad.
The
So I
throughout
couldn't
this
tell what was
lighting's
going
bad.
on.
I think Tiana Taylor was sort of just kind of wasted in
Yeah,
this
she didn't
movie.
have anything to do. I was hoping her and that other gal who seemed to be the cop who owned Winston. There was one scene where they were driving off in the car with the money. We learned they were just taking it where it was supposed to go, but I mean,
I'd take the money.
I was hoping they were just gonna drive off into the sunset with that
Yeah.
money.
I don't know if this movie was trying too hard or what. I think Ben Affleck and Matt Damon should have just retired after Good Will Hunting because I did not think this was the greatest movie they've ever made.
I thought it was interesting when we thought that Matt Damon was the villain, the antagonist.
I agree, yeah.
And then they kind of immediately just flipped on
He's like,
that.
no, I was playing you all along. It's actually Stephen Young, spoiler alert.
Yeah, which I didn't like that as much. I
No.
thought it would have been more interesting to see Ben Affleck and Matt Damon kind of
Butting
as
heads.
foils to each other.
Exactly, instead of always being kind of buddy-buddy.
And we didn't really get a lot about their characters. It's like we were thrown these sad backstories for them, but they weren't in depth enough for us to really care.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, oh, Matt Damon had a son and he died, and so now he's got nothing to lose. It's like, okay, but what was their relationship like? Like, where are the stakes for that?
Nothing was fleshed out enough to be interesting.
Yeah, and then Ben Affleck, he was in a relationship with their old captain who was murdered at the beginning of the movie. So you'd think there'd be some turmoil there, you know,
We get a couple
his,
flashbacks, but that's about it.
like this person he was in a relationship with was murdered very recently.
Yeah.
And they really only hint at how that's been affecting him emotionally a couple of times. If anything, more of his backstory is with his brother, who's in the FBI, and we don't even really get that much between them. It's just kind of like, oh, they kind of rib at each other like brothers, you know?
Yeah, they have a rough, like, family relationship, something like that.
Like, I think Ben Affleck punches his brother at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, this movie tries to have emotional weight, but it really seems like this story and the way they filmed everything, it seems like they were just trying to, I don't know, make a kind of action-y cash grab.
I think so.
I was not a fan of this.
I guess I think it's cool that they negotiated with Netflix that if it does well on streaming, the people who made the movie get a bonus. That's cool.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that, I suppose.
I guess they're getting that bonus because I think this movie's doing pretty well.
I get the feeling that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck think they can't put out anything bad, like whatever they come up with together, they just put their heads together and it's going to be gold. This is not the case.
Well, I don't even think they wrote on this or anything.
Oh, really?
They produced it with their
Okay.
production company, so they probably had a say in some stuff that went on. But yeah, this was a different director and writer.
I would have rather watched Good Will Hunting 2 with an AI Robin Williams haunting them than watching this.
Well, because
But keep Winston, he's fine.
Here's the thing. I think if Ben Affleck had directed this movie, we would have at least been able to see the actors' faces.
The lighting was terrible. Just terrible.
Yeah. I feel like it was happening so often. I think it was an intentional style choice.
Yeah.
But it was one that I did not like. I need to be able to see the actor's face. I want to see how they're emoting. If I were the actor, I would be mad that the work that I did was essentially hidden.
Right. they tried. I don't know. It seemed like some of the time they're trying to just check every box and like this makes an action movie. We had a little bit of gunfight. There was fire and drugs and money and cop banter. You had the big giant cop car kind of tank looking vehicle
Mm-hmm.
that they were driving around. I knew as soon as we saw that at the beginning, I'm like, oh, that's coming
Oh
back.
yeah.
We had one of the bad guys or the corrupt cops kind of parkouring across the neighborhood
Yeah.
roofs for some reason. The cartel was in the neighborhood, the drug cartel, but they're like, no, we don't want to mess with the cops. You could take the money. I didn't
Yeah.
get that.
The cartel guy literally told the cops, "Good luck.
We had an
Take the money."
we had an awkward scene of them FaceTiming with Matt Damon. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah. That felt shoehorned in. I
Very
don't even
much.
think we needed to bring in the cartel because I know that's where the money came from, but the antagonist of this was Stephen Yun and Kyle Chandler. They're
Yeah.
trying to take the money. They've been at this one this one thing for at least a couple weeks, maybe months.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, a lot of this just seemed so
Mm-hmm.
half baked. I don't know. A lot could have been done better, but I guess some of the acting was fine.
Yeah, I never thought any of the acting was bad. I just
Yeah,
wish the lighting were better so I could see more of their performances.
I will give this movie a solid 25%, just because at least at some points I'm just looking at it going like I wasn't bored. I'm just going, what in the world's happening?
I'm with you.
The story was trying to be too complicated for its own good. The
Yeah.
lighting was bad. It wasn't like actiony enough or cop drama enough to be interesting.
Yep.
Just pretend it's Jason Bourne on a side job or something, and you'll be okay. Keep it on in the background if you just want to have something on Netflix while you're working or something.
This had an 80%.
Ew.
Yeah.
No, the audience is wrong.
This is the critics.
The critics are extra wrong.
The audience is more in line with us, 64%.
Even then.
Yeah.
Nah, thumbs down. This one, skip this one, y'all. It ain't
Yeah.
worth the hype.
I don't think it's worth it. There are better action movies to watch.
This was the stinker of this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if I dislike this movie more than A Little Prayer, but I think it's like
A Little Prayer was competent.
neck and neck. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I never was watching A Little Prayer saying, I can't see their face.
Fair enough.
All right, last and certainly not least,
What we got?
we watched Mother of Flies,
Mother of Flies.
which was a pretty cool indie horror movie. I thought this was a really cool idea, and it's really cool that this family, this mom and dad and their kids, just kind of made this movie.
Yeah, that was cool. It's not like a high budget film, but it was. I think you can do a low budget horror film a lot better than you can do other kind of genres.
I agree.
I think the makeup and kind of the story, just sort of general vibes. Like this is sort of like a ghost kind of horror. Like I don't know, body
Witchy
horror. Yeah,
movie.
witchy. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of what I would call body horror.
Okay,
I
okay.
got pretty squeamish at points
Sure.
too, which the makeup and the gore designs and effects, very, very good.
There's a scene where the witch gal, she is like going into a cave. There's this snake there, and you were like so squeamish when she's
God.
like swallowing the whole snake.
Snakes get me. And yeah, she's swallowing a snake. And then there was a scene where she was spitting the snake into the teenage girl's mouth, because this is about a teenage girl and her dad who are actually a father and daughter in real
Yeah.
life. And the girl,
I think the witch is her mom.
yeah,
maybe
the witch
in
is
real
the
life.
mom, yeah.
That was cool.
And the girl has cancer and only has a couple months left to live.
She's trying this. We think at first it's like a homeopathic sort of like healer that she
Yeah,
found
I
somehow.
assumed it was like a Etsy witch.
It's revealed like I think about partway through the movie. She's like, "Oh no, this witch came to me in a dream."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, things are starting to become kind of more supernatural. You see early on this witch lady lives in the woods. She's trying all these like really weird like healing things, making like tea out of like mushrooms and herbs and stuff. The dad's very skeptical the whole time.
Yeah, he's being honestly kind of rude about it because I get, hey,
I would have been that guy. Be like, no, has no idea what this witch is, just a fraud. But he plays along for his daughter's sake.
Yeah, because at that point I'd be like, well, she's got a couple months left to live. This isn't really gonna do any damage when you look at it that way, and it's gonna make her feel better. Might as well.
Plus, the witch lives in a really cool treehouse. Now, I wouldn't like that bed of moss that she was making them sleep on. I've been cold.
And then there was a snake in his bedroom in the corner at one point.
You didn't even notice, no. Yeah, this kind of gave me like the Vitch vibes a little bit. It was weird, and I don't know, they didn't explain things too much. You just see a lot of this sort of rituals and, I don't know, healing, alternative medicine stuff that they're trying. I guess it's revealed towards the end of the movie, like, oh, the witch she's a necromancer. Yeah. I thought that was cool.
And we did get a lot of flashbacks interspersed in the movie.
Yes.
Of her backstory, which I like the show Don't Tell.
I agree.
Yeah, she was kind of around in the Vitch kind of times, you know? And
because this necromancer lady, she's like an urban legend in this, like, in wherever they're at. Yeah,
she essentially stole a dead baby and then brought it back to life. Mm-hmm. And then all of the village people are like, that's weird. And so then
that is weird.
Like, buried her alive under rocks and stuff.
Right. Well, why'd you come to her in the first place? Yeah, the effects were good. Like I said, the makeup and everything was really well done. Mm-hmm. It was, I guess, a spooky movie without being overly scary or creepy. It wasn't very jump scary or anything like that, which is fine. I appreciate horror movies that have a more creep factor than just like blast of loud music, meaning like make you jump out of your seat.
I agree, because it really did make me squirm.
It did.
Like, those effects and everything, it was just like, ugh. But in a good way, that was the intention.
I thought at first that the witch lady, she was basically just going to use father and daughter to either, I don't know, bring herself back to life, something like that, or basically she was pretending to help them when she ultimately was going to, I don't know, take their life force or in one way or another kill them, which actually was not the case.
No.
She was, I guess, essentially just trying to use the teenage girl to kind of reunite with her necromancer baby.
Yeah, she essentially cut the tumor out of her. Mm-hmm. It turned into a baby. And then when the dad finds her, the wound is closed up. And then at the very end of the movie, they're at the doctor and he's like, well, cancer's gone.
The doctor's like, we should run more tests because this does not seem possible. They're both like, nope, we're good.
So I guess it all worked out in the end.
It did.
Everyone got what they wanted.
It did work out, yes. I guess sort of a happy ending.
Uh-huh. I would say so.
I think, as you mentioned, that this does a lot of showing but not telling. And when you have a weird sort of indie horror movie vibe, that works very well because it lets your mind just kind of like roll with it and try to figure out what's happening, but it doesn't spoil it or anything like that.
It does, because they could have taken a cheaper, easier route of just an exposition dump, and they didn't do that.
Nothing like that, no. I thought that was fine. I liked the setting. It was like not rural. It's like we're in the middle of the woods, but people kind of live around here, travel, like maybe camp here, things like that. Yeah. There's a lot of old, like maybe from colonial times, artifacts and stuff, and like they have the stack of like rock structure for grave markers that I thought was cool and well done. There's a lot of like, I don't know, squelching and blood.
The sound design's really good.
Very well done. Again, going back to it, it seems like this was a small production kind of centered around like this dad and mom and their daughter sort of were the nucleus of this kind of production.
Yeah,
I
and they
thought
were
that
the
was really cool.
directors of the movie as well, all three of them.
I liked this one. If you're a fan of horror but you don't want to be traumatized, give this one a shot. Like I
Yeah.
said, if you know the gore isn't too heavy or over the top, anything like that. The squeamish parts don't overstay their welcome, which I think worked very well.
And you know what? If the first scene unsettles you too much, maybe skip this one.
Maybe skip. Okay, fair enough.
Because,
Yeah.
of course, the first scene, she is essentially having relations with a skeleton. That's how this movie opens.
Hey, everyone has their preferences.
There's a monologue about how you have to love death or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if you can't handle that, maybe pop out. But
I thought this movie was cool. I'm gonna give it like an 85.
I thought it was cool
Thumbs
too.
up.
Yeah, I'm 85, 90. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think it's so cool that it was a smaller production and
I want to see more movies like that.
Same.
Absolutely.
Everything was really well done.
Worth the hype. Give it a shot, y'all.
Worth the hype. This has a 96%
There
on
you
Rotten
go.
Tomatoes.
There you go.
Which, great job. I'm excited to see what this family wants to do next.
I was just about to say that. I'm like, I'd like to see what comes next out of this. I think they pulled this off very well.
Yeah, like, can you imagine if they had, like, a big budget?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or a bigger budget?
Sure. I think the indie vibes with this worked very well.
I agree. Very well done.
Yeah, like to see what comes next.
Worth the hype. Give it a shot if you're not too squeamish.
Yeah, it was a pretty good week. We had some stinkers, but overall we had some movies I really enjoyed. I think my favorite this week was probably Splitsville, but the things that we really enjoyed, I did really enjoy.
The only movie I really didn't like this week was The Rip.
Yeah, you can skip that one.
And my favorite 5 stars, Twinless.
Yeah, I would rather watch my personal favorite movie, one of my personal favorite movies, Too Fast, Too Furious. Far superior.
I mean, I would rather watch Too Fast, Too Furious.
And you hated that
than The
movie.
Rip. It was at least fun sometimes. Yeah.
Whether they're together or just out on their own, movies that you should watch instead.
Go watch Argo.
Exactly. Just watch all the Bourne movies. It don't matter. They're better. Yeah. Not too bad.
No.
Some of the scores from them critics I don't quite agree with, but that's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well,
It's
another
done.
week knocked out
We'll
until
see
the next one.
if we're not frozen in ice next one this winter. I think
Hopefully.
we can come at you, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.